So let's take a step back in the evolution and try to get things back into some semblance of order so I don't go 2 minutes of talking without, actually speaking words to you. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. This is Things You Might Not Have Heard for Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. What we'll provide for you in mere moments are 8 news stories that were posted over the last 30 hours, vetted by people like you and people like the Google algorithms, if you will, that are the most conversational stories out there. These are a mix of some of the top, aka breaking news stories, and some things that are a little way, way, way off base. We call ourselves here at Things You Might Have Heard for this thing provided by the Conversation Project, your tertiary news source, your news side piece, if you will. We provide you some of those things that you don't get at home because sometimes you just got to go around the corner to get a little bit of extra. That's what we do right here. Thank you so much for all the love and support you give to us. Check out our main website. This is theconversationproject.com for more details on how to keep the Conversation Project in your thoughts, prayers, and of course in your pocketbooks because we need your support. Let's get into the stories quickly. Thank you very much. Story number one is this one. Ghislaine Maxwell sentenced to 20 years in prison. APnews.com gave us this one. And now there have been a lots poor grammar on purpose, talking about Ghislaine Maxwell and her actual role in the Jeffrey Epstein cases, which is specifically Ghislaine Maxwell was out there grooming and selecting women to bring to Jeffrey Maxwell and the people that Maxwell, or bring to Jeffrey Epstein, should say, and the people Epstein was cavorting with, to do very, very bad things. And because of that, all of the actual blame should not land on Ghislaine Maxwell, especially since Epstein found a way to get out of it by essentially killing himself in jail before he could be sentenced and deal with any actual punishment. So there's a lot of back and forth about what the actual liability, how much blame Ghislaine Maxwell should get for this stuff. The blame, so says the jury and the judge, about 20 years in prison. We'll see how long that one goes through. The case is basically closed. The whole situation for people who have dealt with this, of course, never. And there'll always be questions of other people who were cavorting with Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell, including some very famous people who rather you not have their names in your mouth. Army drops requirement for high school diploma amid recruiting crisis. Military.com gave us this one. And there was a lot of talk on this one, so I'm sure this is something that if there weren't, wars and famine and coronavirus going around, someone would be up in arms about complaining about this. But here's the deal. The crisis itself is basically a lack of people who can qualify for the military. And this is not because there's not a big pool of people out there. There's still plenty of people in the United States to pull from. But there's a lot of things that culture-wise have changed for the better and for ill, and basically because it has, that you can't just have a standard lily white, plain old vanilla military anymore. They have already lessened the requirements on tattoos. It's very famous that you can have tattoos in visible places such as on your neck and down your arm, especially on your hands. You must be able to cover your tattoos while in uniform because you're in uniform. This has not been the case for quite some time for many people. There are people with tats every single where. You can't put a big old thing on your middle of your face, but they would lessen the ban on tattoos many years ago, and now what they're doing is not so much as taking 16-year-olds out of gym class. What they're doing is when people enlist in high school, which happens a lot of people enlist around their junior year of high school, and they'll go to basic training, and then they'll go when they turn 18. They basically are allowing them to go ahead and go to basic training right off the bat. So a lot of kids that in your high schools that were in the guard in their senior years and waiting to go to their main school, they're actually official members of the military. They can go the basic right then the further start as soon as they go. As soon as they get their diploma, then they can go off to their station. But they can go ahead and go to basic right away. This may or may not be controversial, but this is the way of the world now because the recruits, I'll say quality to this, but not to disband the youth of the day, but the quality of the recruits and people who want to get in is a little bit different from back in the day. And it's not just we're all fat, we're all playing video games. It literally is the way of life that we live. The Army and the standards of the military are pretty rigid. And based on today's standards, not exactly how the kids today are living their lives. So it is what it is. Walmart and other stores are placing a purchase limit on Plan B one-step pills. I wrote that, totally butchered that one because I rewrote that title, but you get the gist of it. Yahoo.com or news.yahoo.com was where we pulled this particular article. You can read it by clicking the link inside of the description. But because of the ruling from last week in the Supreme Court, essentially giving all states rights to do what they want with abortion, and many states are just saying we just ain't having no abortions. Period. There are some other options out there that are not so much abortions yet, more emergency contraceptive birth control, which is what the Plan B pill is. It's not even abortion pill, even though people call it that. What it is, it's birth control. It's before the fetus has actually become lodged. It essentially lets it go. That's your science lesson for today. That's all the sex ed I got for you today. However, because we know that many places are basically outlawing it as of right now that they have a chance to get an abortion, people are stocking up just in case they need an abortion, which is the wrong way to cover this. In fact, it's really wrong because these things have a short shelf life. They're out there for a quick period of time. So because you might want to need this extra contraception for a few years, your people are stocking up on a pill that basically has a shelf life of 6 months. This is wrong. This is dumb. This is stupid. This is how panic stuff works. This is buying toilet paper when we find out all the toilet paper in the stores when we find out there's something called a coronavirus. We don't know what it is, but we know we have to buy lots of toilet paper. We didn't have to buy lots of toilet paper. This is what this is. So please, 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 this is a serious, very serious issue going on. Let's not panic. Let's have cool heads. Let's actually think about this and try to think about people out there who may actually need some of these things that hoarding people are holding on to that are going to be wasted. Because trust me, you don't need a Plan B pill every single week. If you do, maybe you do have some issues that need to be resolved. Film Academy invites 397 people to become members, including Billie Eilish, Jamie Dotson, Dornan, sorry about that, Dana Walden, and Leonard Maltin, name I hadn't heard in a long time. HollywoodReporter.com giving us this story, and well, other than the fact that Billie Eilish is one of the people that's named, they name over 400 people to the Academy. Every so often, the Academy is adding people so they have fresh blood in there. Billie Eilish has a pretty acclaimed documentary, a couple actually, and so that sort of puts her in for film stuff. How these people get, qualified, I don't know. How Leonard Maltin is now added to the list, maybe 20 years after he was relevant for movies. He's not on Entertainment Tonight doing movie reviews anymore. Trust me, you don't see him. I'm not sure, but that's how this goes. Does it really matter? They'll still pick movies that I probably aren't going to see because it's not movies that just where basic things blow up, and that's kind of my thing right there. I don't think Maverick's going to be nominated for Academy Award this year, but it's probably the best movie out there because everybody's watching it. The Los Angeles Lakers have signed Scotty Pippen Jr. and Shaq's son, Shareef O'Neal. BlackNews.com gave us this one. Don't get too excited. They are on the team. They signed what they're called two-way contracts. They're not going to be on the starting team anytime soon, probably. But after the NBA draft has just wrapped up, and they're kind of shuffling for position to get as many people in the kitty as possible for these teams. We'll see come fall who actually makes the teams, who actually makes rosters, who's got jerseys. But right now, legacy players are hitting the court because all the players that were, my age, back when I was that age playing, are old guys with kids, this age. So Scottie Pippen Jr. and Shareef O'Neal are now old enough and mature enough and apparently good enough to make an NBA roster, at least in the interim. We'll see how well they are to make it onto TV, onto the court in the big time in a few months. Turkey drops objections to Finland and Sweden joining NATO, removing major hurdles to two nations joining the alliance. CNN.com gives us this one. The meeting of the G7, which has a bigger meeting of a lot of the nations going on, and of course a big meeting of NATO is happening right now. And Turkey was the lone dissenter in allowing Finland and Sweden to say we want to join NATO. Well, they can say it, but actually let them in there. Turkey, one of the other weird countries who also does a lot of trade with Russia, and also shares a little border space with Russia. Well, actually don't share border space with Russia because that's the big deal with Finland and Sweden meeting right there. Allows for a buffer, or makes the buffer a little bit weirder. They do have a lot of trade with Russia, so they were kind of playing the fence, if you will. Now they're dropping the objections. Go deeper into the story and see how the diplomats made this work. But what we're going to see now is a fast track to get Finland and Sweden in NATO. What that's going to do to push Russia and Putin a little bit more to the edge, we shall see in weeks and months, because they're going to try to make this thing happen as quickly as possible. The protections of NATO means one guy gets hit, everybody gets hit. That's not exactly what happens in Ukraine, because Ukraine, not a member of the European nation, which they're working on, but not a member of NATO. And so we can offer various support, but we're not going to actually offer up, lives and troops and people on that end. This is not going to cause a World War II, 3, 8 situation. If Sweden and Finland join and they attack them, that might be something where everybody escalates extremely quickly. Wendy Williams podcast, planning in full swing, lining up celebs. TMZ our source for this one. Black tea our source for hydration for the morning. And Wendy Williams is talk show. Yes, I did get a cough button for Father's Day, but I don't have it installed yet. Wendy Williams' talk show has been transitioned on and taken on going forward by a new host and a new time slot with the new people there. However, Wendy Williams is not going away quietly, not shyly, quietly into the night. She has a podcast coming up, and she's lining up celebrities to work on this thing. How these things are going to work financially and for backing, I don't know. Podcasts. Everybody has a podcast. I have like 12, and you see how that goes with that one. But Wendy Williams is still going to come on the podcast. We're going to dish the dirt. I don't know if it's going to be video or just audio, but we'll find more details on that one. Read the story and see more how it goes up. But they're lining up celebrities to be on the show and how it's going to go, whether it's daily or whether it's going to be weekly. We're going to basically find out when it comes out. Wendy Williams ain't gone yet. Gone from her television show, but not from our hearts. Howard Stern's going to come save us. He wants to run for president to overturn all this BS. New York Post gave us this one. Take this with a grain of salt, or a bucket of salt, or a dump truck full of salt. But Howard Stern's like, you know what? I think I am running for president. I got to fix all this stuff going on. If you think Howard's the man to fix this stuff, then you probably think Trump was the man to fix this stuff. All kidding aside, Howard Stern's not running for president, but Howard Stern may be one of the brightest people from a celebrity standpoint, because of just who he is and what goes on. You may not like what he says half the time, and I think I don't like what he says probably 45 to 55% of the time. But this is a guy that has connections, a guy that talks to people. He can talk to people in real time, and the interviews he has done over time with just people to just have general conversations, including some really sick and dirty ones with Donald Trump, if you will, are amazing. He's a guy that can get people to talk, because he's not a politico, he's not a journalist per se. He's just an entertainer trying to get people to have conversations and have fun. But now he thinks he can fix everything. Actually, he doesn't. He's mostly joking. Check out the article and see what he says about this. But basically, he's saying, if anybody can basically run a country as badly as anybody as they're doing right now, and they're all doing a fairly poor job of it, why not Howard Stern? At least he's profitable. So we say. We're not sure about SiriusXM. Every time I try to cancel SiriusXM, they give me like 8 months for a penny. It's like Columbia House. So they do that type of stuff. And a man. Oh, I'm sorry. We have some slides that were not properly vetted. That was from yesterday. Sorry about that. All right, so this is a teaser story that we may talk about right now. Bison gores man near Old Faithful in Yellowstone National Park. This may be the third bison buffalo goring story we've had all season, but it's in the queue. It's there. It's kind of a slow kind of burn of a morning. So if this is one you want to chat up, you just basically have to do what you need to do. Add the engagement, read up on it, and you should like it, love it, hate it, share it. Discuss the bisons and what's going on in Yellowstone National Park, and we may vote this one up as a story to talk about tomorrow. We'll talk about how that can happen in a moment, but first let's talk about your eyes. And I'm not actually wearing my glasses today because I'm having some eye issues. So I'm sitting a different distance from here, so far I am for here. But when I do wear my glasses, which I wear to drive, which I wear to see most of the times, it's issues with the computers. I have glasses from Zenni Optical. I have had glasses from Zenni Opticals for years. I have some of the, be honest, some of the cheaper frames because I like this basic frame, and the lenses are not Coke bottle thick, see, so they work for me. My wife has Zenni optical glasses because she found some pretty ones that she liked, and my daughter, when she gets her new glasses in a few months, she has some cheetah print glasses she's already picked out. Zenni Optical takes care of my family and can take care of your family with the best prices online in eyewear. I know there's a fancy other place that'll send you like 20 pairs of glasses that's printing around, but these glasses are affordable. These glasses are beautiful. These glasses are functional, and they have every single thing that any other place has. And the biggest, coolest thing is you can go online and hit a little button and put your picture up, and you can try your glasses on online like that, like in the picture. And if you don't like them, hell, they'll take them back too. They don't have a problem with that. Check them out at thisistheconversationproject.com/Zenni. This is theconversationproject.com/Zenni. Zenni Optical is an affiliate of ours, or we're an affiliate of them, so this is an affiliate link. We get a little cut, a small cut from you actually checking in with them, but you will love their glasses and be a lifelong supporter, lifelong lover of Zenni Optical once you get your first pair. Guaranteed. Our main website is thisistheconversationproject.com, where you can find all things Conversation Project, past, present, and what we got going on in the future. You can also check out links for our sponsorship page and our sponsorship pages, I should say, and our partners pages, so you can see how you can join up with us and partner and do great things with us. You can also follow us on our feeds, which is the most important thing to do, on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/thisistheconversationproject and twitter.com/th_conversation. What you need to do when you basically follow us on Facebook and Twitter is every 50 minutes we post a brand new news story for you to enjoy, imbibe, intake. As you engage with that story, it gets a higher score. At 5 in the morning, Monday through Friday, we pull all the data from the previous day. For Monday, we pull the full weekend. We put it in a spreadsheet that gives us a full engagement score, and we take from the top to see which stories are the most engaging, and we give you a rundown of those as stories you might not have heard because you probably didn't see all 30 of them. To talk about going through the day. As we said, we do a mix of some stories that are top news and some stories that are kind of out there because people need kind of a general type of deal, and that's what we're offering here. Follow us on our feed so you can be a part of the voting process and know and be in the know, actually. And follow us on YouTube. This is theconversationproject.com/YouTube. There's a link to take you to that page. Once you get there, follow, so subscribe, hit notifications so that at 5:50 in the morning when the thing goes live, you can get me, my bald head and my scruffy beard, and we can give you some stories to get your day started just like that. And also, you can give us any feedback inside any videos that you see as well. A few day things to talk about, like 2-day things. Let's start with our birthdays for June 29th. Celebrating out to Gary Busey out there at 78 years old today. Fred Grandy, your ship's purser and former member of Congress, 74 years old today. And Colin Jost of Saturday Night Live. He's only 40. Hard to believe he's only 40 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Colin Jost. Waffle Iron Day is today. There were a couple other days, including National Mud Day, where you're supposed to encourage your kids to go out and play in the mud. However, since they can't play with hoses and it's like 190 degrees outside, we're not going to do that today. But if you have a waffle iron, don't let your kids play with it. Just make some waffles. Okay? They'll love that. According to a survey, an overwhelming majority, that's 73%, are annoyed when they see others' vacation photos on social media. However, the poll also revealed some hypocrisy. Of the people surveyed, 77% say they post vacation pictures themselves. Pot, meet kettle. One last thing to go out the door that you may not have known. This has been Things You Might Not Have Heard for today, or yesterday technically, Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. J. Cleveland Payne wrapping it up for the day. Already posting news stories every 50 minutes so you can get in on the action and see what's happening in your world. And, of course, we'll have a recap to go into the morning for things to have your morning newscast. We do this 5 days a week, and so if you're not seeing it 5 days a week, make sure you're following us on the YouTube. Go to thisisconversationproject.com for all details of what you need for all things going forward. And the most important thing to do, to remind you right now, is to stay hydrated, stay on task, and stay limber, because it gets tight out there. We got a long way to go. We need you around to do the great things that you are meant to do. I'm going to work on that light. That big white bug makes the white balance actually better. It makes me look more chocolate brown. The spacing here we're working on. So we're good to go. We got more improvements going. Let us know what improvements are working, what improvements are not working. Let us know what things we've been doing forever are still not working or still working, and we'll work on them together because we do this all together. In the meantime, let's have a great day together. Let's have a great Wednesday. I'll do this again on Thursday.